promising overall. But tonight, fighter and 3 red mages. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. First things first, go ahead into our config menu. We want to have faster text speed, memory cursor on, and for whatever reason, I still never tried it. What happens with vibration? I don't want it though. Get a 4 rapiers, so we've got 1 for everybody. We'll also get 4 sets of chainmail here. And I think I can actually afford my spells as well on top of that. Nope, I can only afford 1. Never mind. I was thinking if I could get both spells, I wouldn't have to go up to that part of town later on. But it's not really worth doing for only 1 of the 2 mages to get equipped. So go ahead. Talk to our South Guard here. North Guard might have been a little bit closer, but I didn't get a chance to see where the NPC was standing. Ideally on that one you go out of north, and then the second best is south, the worst is east. But for the start of the game, south is usually almost always clear, so I don't remember having to do east very often. It's like maybe 2 or 3 times out of 100. Let's head up over to Temple of Fiends here, and I'll save once we get closer to the temple where it's about to transition to a higher level zone. Before that, I can probably take the experience here, or even run away from things if it's just a group of imps. Nice solid hit there on Ace. Oh, that's pretty good for XP. So I should be able to get Garland level 2 now. Actually, it probably works on easy mode even without that, because with double experience, Garland must give you almost a full level's worth, if not a little bit more. There's that imp group. Let's go ahead and just run. At this point, I don't feel like I need to get any more experience. So I'll get level 2 here. Should be level 3 for the pirates, even if I don't find anything along the way. It's very, very easy to get those early levels out of the way. Now, that helps out a lot, having that double XP growth for that kind of formative time when you don't really have any spells or skills or good weapons to use. If you had lit 1 on the red mages, it would help out a bit in this Garland fight because it would do way more damage than their rapiers on average. Although in theory the red mage could get a hit in, that's a nice 15 or so. I think 20 is around the max for them without a critical. Hey Sherzad, welcome in. There we go, nice Garland. That was actually a really fast Garland overall. I got very few encounters on the way up here. And of course on easy mode you don't have to do the encounters at all. And here we go, 1 princess obtained. The value of these princesses is a little bit debatable. I would probably skip it if I could. But, you know, we'll trade that one in for a bridge. It's a worthy trade. We'll also go ahead and pick up our musical instrument here and admire the fine chocobo statuary in the background. There's a couple other statues added throughout the game that are not present in the original version. There is in Chaos's Lair statues of all 4 of the Fiends. On GBA, they're a little bit unclear because of the low resolution of the system, but it's a bit easier to see on the PlayStation version here, and very easy to see on the PlayStation Portable, which has a very nice screen overall. Hey T-Bo, welcome in. Is Nasir the name of the princess? If that's Princess Nasir, I've lived a terrible lie all my life. The king's name is King Steve, of course. There we go. The bridge is now finished. That took him a solid 20 seconds. If they could go faster, that would be really appreciated. Hey, Breacher, welcome in. I'm going to go ahead into town here, pick up my Cure 1 spells. We'll need to get 3 of those things. There's 1, 2, and 3. 50 gold, you could actually get 2 spells, I guess, with the cash left over after the early shopping, but since we've got 3 red mages, I still wouldn't be able to get spells for everybody. Those are 100 gold normally, so you can see the big difference in terms of prices. I used to think it was like a 20% across the board discount, but it varies all over the place. Like sometimes it's 20%, sometimes it's 50%, sometimes it's 40%. They just kind of did whatever to go and cut the prices down. Hey, Guardian, and welcome into Glenfield as well. You don't know why they felt the need to add the bridge construction scene. They did this for like a lot of the events in the game where it didn't have any kind of story or animation for the original NES version. And it just kind of illustrates what's going on in the world. So that rather than something just kind of appearing out of nowhere, you know, it gets built, it gets blown up, it gets raised out of the desert, all kinds of things for transitions were just kind of filled in with those little cutscenes. And since they're generally fairly short, I don't mind too much. It adds a little bit of character to the game. Once again, the world might fall prey to an ancient evil. Well, I'm gonna try to keep Dan under control, but no promises. Once we get out of the cutscene here, I'm going to go ahead and save the game for the walk across there. Wouldn't want to have to replay that. And some of the encounters here can be rather slow, especially things like the wolf battles. Wolves have very high agility, so they're difficult to run from. Most of the other stuff here, though, pretty easy to get away. Hey, Five Bears, welcome in. Glad you enjoyed the SGDQ run. That was a lot of fun to do. And Astal is a game that... very unlikely to get into events, so being able to show it off is nice. It was also kind of neat having Astal and Deppy together, because those are both considered to be really popular games among Sega Saturn fans, and they really, as far as I can tell, enjoyed that block overall. Not going to bother fighting my iguana there. Iguana is just not worth the trouble until you've got the silver swords. In fact, he's not worth the trouble after you have the silver swords either. I got a pretty good amount of steps in here. I took a bit of a gamble not saving after the iguana battle, and the mad ponies came up rather quickly, but we got away from them. As long as it's not wolves, almost everything else here is very easy to run from. You don't want to get, though, undead monsters who could paralyze you, or poisonous monsters, since I don't have the antidotes yet. I don't know why I reset. It's only one attack. So used to most of the early game ambushes being like 6 or 7 things to sit through, and so it's just like, oh, just skip that, but it would have been done right away. Hey, Triforce, welcome in. Runs are going pretty good. This is run number 1, and we're gonna have a very good time here up through Bicky. And yes, this is the PlayStation version. We're playing on easy mode tonight, which was originally planned for Sunday, but I had to postpone everything by 1 day due to some Twitch issues. So we're going to do PlayStation tonight and NES tomorrow. Hey, Sweet Twos, welcome in. Thanks for the good wishes there. And yep, updated monster values are going to go. I've already done the updates, so it's just that the bot is not running right now, which is why I didn't bother publishing all of them. In general, monsters got much cheaper. There's a few exceptions. You know, Agamas are going up in price, but overall the average was significantly down thanks to the run skipping a lot of otherwise annoying monsters that were just tinted past in this new version. Alright, I'll take a ship. Is the paste bin updated? No, the paste bin doesn't get updated. I just publish new ones when it's time to go and update it. I need to see what my gold total is. 583. I don't think that's enough. I want to say it's 200 for temper in this version. So we're going to go ahead and do the ship first and then come back for the spells. That's unfortunate because it is a little bit of extra walking if you have to go back into Broke a second time. Alright, 15 puzzle time. I need to finish 4 of these, I think. I haven't done the math exactly, but I'm not sure if I could get away with only doing 3 of them. I thought about it, but I didn't have a good measurement for it. Go ahead and wait here until 45 seconds have passed. That gives me a bit of a buffer for the future playthroughs. Hey, Ghosty, welcome in. And 45. All right, there's our first victory. Go ahead and do it again. You get 10,000 gold every time that you win first place in this version of the game, which I am deliberately stalling to make sure that first place is easier to get. In second place, you get 5,000, so it's not the end of the world if it doesn't happen to work out for one of the playthroughs, but unless I know the exact gold amounts, I do want to make sure that I get enough overall for doing all the shopping. And having the gold does let me skip a whole bunch of treasure chest pickups, so it's worth the time doing this. Hey, Mega Pulp, welcome in. We'll be doing 44 seconds on this one next. There we go. 2 wins in. $43 on this one. Does this PSX version have other minigames? No, 15 Puzzles is the only minigame in the original Final Fantasy. That's been there since the NES version. It's just that the NES version didn't give you any substantial reward. It was only 100 gold in that one. So you can't do tricks like this to raise extra money. Instead, you have to grind lots and lots of ogres. Which does have a second purpose of giving you a good amount of experience as well. But we don't really need experience in this version. It's so much easier overall. Alright, there's our 4 victories. Now I got 40,000 gold in here. And Tulu, welcome in, and welcome to Avon as well. When are we getting sub 3 on NES? Talk to Tiamat about when that's going to happen. I was robbed on the last run through. Actually, there's 3 things that were bad luck in the run. It was early game, like the Marsh Cave Astos stretch had some bad luck in it just for like the regular encounters. There was Bane not working on Tiamat, so I actually killed Tiamat with damage rather than the Bane spell. And then Chaos got Cure 4 off, which that was the final nail in it. So it was just over 3 hours for that run. Hey J0, welcome in. Have I ever finished the 15 puzzle by accident too fast? I don't think I have. It's pretty easy to remember to be like slow on it. Unlike when you're trying to rush really fast through something, it's like, you know, just gotta chill out at the screen for a little while. It'd be so nice if I had the silver swords already. Chaos killed the one thing you can't bring back. Oh, I mean, there's Dan, too. You can't bring Dan back. We've tried. It doesn't work. There we go. 4 silver swords. That gives everybody a huge increase in attack power. Gonna go ahead and get my spells here as well. I don't think that Cure 2 at this point is quite worth it, because it's gonna be a while before you even can cast spells. It's level 6 for the red mages to have a 3rd tier spell slot in the first place. Is the enemy encounter rate lower on easy mode? No, it's the same encounter rate, but you get double experience and gold, and there's lots of other things that make the game easier. So it is a very significant difference in terms of the overall feel of the game. I mean, just having some extra levels makes the encounters much, much easier to deal with. You'll have a higher rate of running, and if you don't successfully run, it's still not too bad. You know, let's get 22. Bunch of cottages here for the early game. Any new strats since the last time? Well, we're trying a different party here. This is fighter and 3 red mages instead of 2 fighters and 2 red mages. I'm going to be more aggressive about skipping things for treasure chest pickups. I'm trying to be more aggressive about experience as well overall. I think I ended up like level 21 last time, which is a little bit too high. So we probably got too much experience in the early games. We're going to try doing that at as low a level as possible. Assuming we see good HP on some of the red mages, I can go to Lich at like level 7. I'm going to try this. That worked. No ogres though, unfortunately. There's some ogres. Ask and you shall receive. Alright, so now with the ogres out of the way, this should give me pretty close to level 4 already. I don't know quite how it breaks down, but normally it is 6 ogres plus the pirates and Garland to get level 4 in NES. And with double XP, yep, there we go, we got it already. I was holding the menu button. I was holding the menu button down. This is also a really bad encounter. Let's hopefully get away. Yes! Good job, Dan. That is correct. Dan is not going to be napping in this round. We tried out on normal difficulty Fighter and 2 Red Mages with a dead Dan on Saturday, and I wasn't really happy with how that went. It felt like it was very much more difficult than a 4-member party, but not really that much faster. Like, the time savings was really minuscule compared to the equivalent amount on NES. See, 2 of these things, I can probably attack him and kill him. Assuming the red mages can hit. Turning out to be a bad mistake. Oh yeah, with everybody paralyzed. Luckily Cal can still continue to go. I mean, he's worth like an ogre worth of experience right there, but the amount of time I spent on that was just ridiculous compared to what I should be budgeting for things. Okay, I've got 2 casts of Temper, which should be enough for here. And I'll do another cottage coming out of the cave, so we should have Tempers for Astos as well. Heading over around the south side here. Let's see if we have any encounters. What do we get? We got a bunch of junk. Well, 3 of them have paralyzation, so that's probably a bad start. But as long as we can get away, we're good. Hey, Lava Pals, welcome in. Alright, I'm going to try not picking up the cottage here. See if we can save some time that way. And wizards. I want to see 2 wizards. We get 3 wizards. Not so good. I stack enough steals, though, on Ace. Then he should be able to one-shot them. But with 3 rounds to get through, that is going to be a bit painful. I'm fairly convinced that monsters do less damage on easy. I don't have proof of that, though. It just feels like they are not nearly as threatening. Never mind, now I'm threatened. Come on, we need Ace to go. We need Ace to not die. Oh, 12 on the dot. That's what I get for calling easy mode too easy. There we go. Wizards down. Another level. Wow, we're already level 5. I haven't even fought anything, really. Go ahead and pick up my crown here. And we have 6.5 minutes to get to Astos, which I think is pretty doable. Also, thinking about it now, I have no idea why I use potions to heal up for the wizards. We have 12 cure ones. Hey, King Kong, welcome in. Man, we are running really well here. It could be a combination of the levels, or it could be difficulty. Again, and a lot of the mechanics of PlayStation differences between easy and normal are not well understood. Hey, nice. Poisonous party mix opportunity. Spider, Arachnid, and Scum here. Like, I'm almost positive on normal mode you would not have gotten away from those 2 fights. But it could just be luck, or it could be level 5 versus level 4. Lots of little small factors do play a big difference in this game. Guess my better judgment will do this again. At least the red mages have a higher accuracy now, so that they are going to be a lot more likely to connect with the monsters. They still need another level to get 2 attacks per round. Ace gets his second attack with a silver sword at level 4, and the red mages get it at level 6. Alright, yeah, this is ridiculously good luck for running. I think it has to be a difference in difficulty. Like, I'm not even bothering to save walking up here. And I really should. That's correct, Shirzad. If you want to create a new team tomorrow, then it'll be all available to be freshly updated. All the existing teams do remain permanently in effect. For monsters that are no longer eligible, they disappear from your team. And so you might have fewer monsters than you had before. but even if your monsters now cost more than the limit, your team will still be there, just penalized. And I think because of the monster values generally decreasing, nobody has been put over the limit by the changes. And here we go, Astro's time. We need Ace to not die. I probably should have put him in something besides slot 1. Reduce the odds of him being targeted by the death spell. Or maybe we get really lucky and he one-shots Astos here. Close. Ace's dead body's being buffed. Surprised that it even tries to animate that. Never mind. Let's go ahead and fix up our formation, then try that again. So we're going to put Ace in the back so that he's less likely to be targeted by Rub. Bit of a time loss there, not having thought about that before going into the fight, but you die really fast usually if Astos does get the Rub off. Alright, going after Bill here. See you later, Bill. Ace is gonna have two haste on, or 2 tempers on right now. It's probably enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and temper again anyway. Nice, got the slow on Dan, so we don't have to worry about that either. Astos' next spell, Fast, is not a problem. And then after that, he does have some nasty attack magic, but we should not see that. Because he's dead. Yeah, the boss music in this version is really good overall. So Ace, Cal, and Dan getting a level. So everybody except for Bill now can cast Fire 2, and that means Vampires no problem. And with the way this goes, with the amount of experience you get, we probably are going to have level 7 after Vampire, or close to it. So now let's head on back down to Elfland. I'll go ahead and get Bill revived there. I guess Bill was my running expert. Now that he's dead, we can't run anymore. Once you hit level 6, the Ogre's not nearly as good for experience. Instead, you want to start switching to things like Bulls and Trolls and other Earth Cave type monsters. My one exception is I'll use Ogre Groger fights as a way to pick up like small miscellaneous amounts of experience for that level. Like you don't want to go all in doing it, but there is some good opportunities if you only need like 200, 300 or so. There we go. I was going to save, so I wanted to make sure that I did have a chance to get through there without too much more delay. Should probably be saving like maybe twice a level. By level, I mean dungeon levels or walks on the overworld. Almost Elfland. This is one of the more convenient shops overall, so not a bad place to go ahead and get a revival done. Alright, back out. Let's go on to Matoya's Cave next. We do have our herb. And since you get revived with 1 HP, you might take care to go ahead and heal up here. Wow, we already have 10 casts of spells. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. On that level up, they got 3 extra casts of level 1 spells. That's why you have ridiculous numbers of spells overall. It's like basically free for Magic. Like there is no restriction on how many spells per day you have with easy mode. Normal mode uses the same spell growth progression as the NES version, which is generally every 4 levels. Well, it basically goes whatever level you get your spell at, then you get a second charge to the next level, and then there is a gap which increases over time until you get your 3rd charge, and the same size gap for the 4th and 5th charges, and so on. So that by level 50, you only have 9 casts. Whereas this one, it seems like you're going to have 99 by that level. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and try to kill those big guys in the back to reduce our chance of getting stun locked here. And we'll have our front 2 party members try to run. This is a particularly bad encounter, but we don't have Lit 2 yet because I haven't used the cottage. There we go. Most of the stuff in this area should be no problem. There are wolves here, which is probably the fastest monster that you're going to encounter in the early game, until you get to the boat, which point a lot of the aquatic monsters just have very high agility, which is why they're hard to hit and hard to run away from as well. Almost to the cave. The remakes of this game have very high encounter rates overall, so the NES version is actually not too bad in terms of encounters. You know, you have pretty predictable sequences for how long it's going to be, so that you never have encounters on back-to-back squares, except for one special circumstance when you're on the top floor of Sky Castle. That one has an elevated encounter rate that's about twice as high as normal. Other than that, it's generally pretty well spread out. Whereas here with the remakes and it being frame-based for when you get encounters, sometimes you'll have 3 encounters in 3 steps, and other times it'll be 50 steps between encounters. It's a little bit less predictable overall. And I feel it kind of hurts the game sometimes for pace, if you just get stuck with encounter after encounter after encounter going through an area. I pretty much have to take this because I didn't save coming out of Matoya's cave. There we go. To compound my mistake, I will continue to not save it. Of course, it's where we get back-to-back encounters. Although this one is pretty good, so let's go ahead and farm the experience here. Groger plus 2 regular ogres is the most experience you can have in the early parts of the world. So there is no better formation than this for XP until you get to Earth Cave. Or I guess generally the Melmond area, so outside of the Inner Sea. There's Bill getting his level. He was down a level because he was dead at Astos. Spider's not worth dealing with. Hey Nick, welcome in, and thanks for the puns. Ogre puns always appreciated on this channel. Yeah, Dragon Warrior is a game that was known for its high encounter rates as well. And it uses a very similar system where the frame that you take the step is what determines whether that encounter takes place, as well as what the monsters are. So the Final Fantasy remakes actually emulate Dragon Quest in terms of encounter behavior. Later Dragon Quests added some more complications to the mechanics, where If you're transitioning between certain areas, it would change the encounter rate. Like if you're going into a dark space where you couldn't see where it was, you'd have a higher rate of encounters. If you go through a stairway, it resets your threat level a little bit so that your encounter rate goes back down. There's like lots of very subtle things about how Dragon Warrior is done for speedruns as a result because of what the depth of the encounter mechanics are like. I am also very glad that they added L plus R running for GBA. It's a bit of a pain here in PSX that you have to pick the flee command 4 times. I guess it's authentic to the NES, but still. That type of convenience is very much a good change to the game. Alright, there we go. 1 Mystic Key. Gonna head all the way back to Corneria. Hopefully you can combine some of these trips together. Save a bunch of walking around. So everybody's level 7 right now. This means we're good for Vampire, but we'll have to see how things go for XP development to figure out how Lich is going to be. I think that we're going to get level 8 from the Vampire fight. And in which case I don't have to worry about Lich at all. We should have at least 1, if not 2 red mages that have enough HP to survive Lazar at the start. Plus I think that you do have a much higher chance of blocking spells on easy mode, so that getting the double damage is much harder for Lich to do. There's our dynamite. Go ahead, pick that up and carry it over to Dwarf Cave here. On the way, I'm going to stop in at the item shop, fill up on my potions. I actually don't technically need to do this, because I guess with so many Cure 1 spells, potions are really not a problem. And antidotes as well. Like, I almost always reset rather than take a fight if I have something poisonous. I mean, it's so fast to buy the potions. It's nothing like a NES where you're buying them one at a time. Alright, this group of jerks again. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not using the inns at all, it's because when you go to the inn, it has a long cutscene where you go and meet up and then you go and take your rooms and so on. And so rather than sitting through that, I use cottages instead, which is what they've renamed houses to. So I've got a very limited supply of them, but the time savings for using a cottage instead of it is pretty substantial. There we go. Try to remember how memory cursor spins things around. Well, this is turning into a rather unfortunate encounter. I don't remember where I last saved either, so I don't know how much progress I would lose if I reset out of this. I feel like, though, that however long it was, it's probably not as long as this fight is taking. Alright, Cal's back up. We at least have another chance to run per round. There we go. That was an absolutely dreadful encounter, though. As we get down here to Dwarf Cave, we'll pick up a couple of items in there. I'll pretty much grab the entire line of items when we get down to the bottom, because grabbing each individual one out, I'd have to remember which ones were which. And yes, you can just pick them all up because they're all useful. At least in this version, there's not much that's wasted. I probably don't need the tent, and maybe the gold pickup is not worth it, but very, very close to all of it breaking even on time. Speaking of which, I might be able to skip that 1,000 gold. Even though it's really fast, I don't think I need the money that badly. There's not much that I have to buy in this run, and most of my money needs are going to be taken care of by just the regular battles. And if I grind on the eye instead of Agama's, definitely so, because the eye gives you parity between experience and gold, which means you get 1 GP per XP, whereas Agama is 1/2. So that will very much swing how much overall gold you have to work with in the mid game. There we go. Blow open our canal. Hopefully Dan was not caught in that. We need Dan in this party to stay alive this time. Often it's okay if Dan dies in explosive deaths, but not tonight. Using 3 red mages will allow me to buff faster in battles, but it also just gives me a gigantic pile of spells to work with. Hey Shintak, welcome in. Alright, so those are probably skippable. That stuff's probably skippable, and this stuff's the more valuable one. But I can see skipping everything and still coming out not too bad. Like, that might have been collectively one 15 puzzle. Which I guess 15 puzzle is 45 seconds, so... I would rather take that time there than the time in the puzzle itself. Alright, down to the south here, and then head on over west to Melmond. I don't need anything in Melmond, so we're just going to skip the town entirely, and we'll go down directly to where Earth Cave is. But I say that Silver Sword or Were Dragon Rune Coral is better. In the original NES, definitely Silver Sword. Like, there's no even debate about it, since the elemental weaknesses are broken. So Silver Sword's just got the best stats, it wins. In the remakes, it's probably still the Silver Sword. It would be very situational that you would be able to do anything else where you would know what the encounter was going to be, and so you would have an advantage with the other ones. And that means unless something really extraordinary happens, there's no opportunities for where Silver would not be the best sword. Duck, thank you very much for the host there. Go ahead and snag some Ogre experience. That should have been level 8 for my front party members. Oh no, we got shadows. I really don't want to reset, even though this is having to sit through 5 punches to the face. Because we did get the Ogre experience right before that, and we got good level ups for both Cal and Dan. Ogre went to Ogre College. I mean, if we could go to Sword College, I would pay the tuition for that. We got plenty of money here in this run. Always been looking for some better sorting skills. Now, a lot of Earth Cave has... I'm not even gonna look at the fight. A lot of Earth Cave has poisonous monsters in it, and monsters that like to ambush you. So even if you can run from the battles, they might still be slow overall. All right, that time the Cobra's got a preemptive, so we'll have a clean run there. I'm thinking that with enough Cast of Fire 2 and Lit 2, some of these fights could go better, especially on the 3rd floor, where there's a lot of undead monsters. But no sure thing on the first 2 floors. Like, the monsters here don't really have elemental weaknesses, and while Grogers have really good experience, 4 of them would be a while to kill. Go ahead and skip the Coral Sword. That's 4,000 gold that I'm giving up, but I feel like the money situation is not going to be a problem. I think the spiders are attacking us with industrial staplers here. Go ahead and take a halfway save on this floor. Good call on the save. Once we get down to the 3rd floor, the difficulty of the encounters does go up. But I think for the most part, it's not going to be that bad because the difficult encounters being weak to fire gives me a really easy out for clearing them. We have a ton of fire charges thanks to 3 red mages here. This will hopefully get Bill his level. It's going to be close. I know he's a bit behind the others. There we go. And Bill did not get a strong level up. So he's the one that's most vulnerable to dying to Blizzara when we get to Lich. I don't think I need to go and try to get extra XP here. We might get level 9 from the vampire battle, but level 8 is sufficient for fighting Lich. Alright, never mind, we're just gonna kill him. Turns out that's easier. Man, Cal really knows how to swing that silver sword. I mean, I guess the nice thing about actually killing things is you do get a decent amount of experience going through some of these floors. Wizard's not worth doing. Those things are unrunnable, and it would take a while to kill 4 of them. See if we can get something better. This floor I do have to go and make sure I pretty much save at the same frequency as normal mode, because of things like wizards, but again, a lot of the encounters, if we get a good Fire 2 off, could be very fast overall. Cal went to Sword College. He definitely went to college somewhere. And it was not mage school. Red mages, well actually this version of red mages are not too bad. In the later remakes, they did implement the intelligence stat, which means that red mage damage went down a lot for attack spells, as well as their healing. Oh, that was a terrible, terrible battle. And white and black mages were buffed. In this version, it's kind of in between. So, worse HP than the original, but their damage is still pretty good, so they're still the 2nd best character class by a fairly good margin. There's an example of rocking him with some fire spells. See if we can get all the way down there. I know there's a bat down there in some terrible spot. I can feel it. It's what bats do. Block up hallways. Unless it's Out of Bounds Bat, who's wonderful. The only good bat among all bat kind. Actually, I don't think a spell here would be enough. You can sometimes kill a Gerwolf with Lit 2, but it's not common. Ice 2 would be way more effective. Unfortunately, we can't get that until after we get out of here. Oh, come on. 9 can't runs in a row. 10 can't runs. So we're actually going to lose time on this split, which I didn't think was very likely to happen. However, it's really just 2 or 3 bad encounters that were very slow. And the rest of it was not too bad overall. Hey, Barrack Blue Glow, welcome in. No, we're not doing Dead Dam. We have 3 living red mages tonight. Alright, good hit. Good hit. 156 is how much HP that guy has, and you do 45 to 178 for your Fire 2 spell. So, one good Fire 2 and he's gone. I wish you could grind on those vampires. They are really good experience. But alas, no more vampires until we get to Mirage Tower, which is really far away from here. Actually, just kill it. Murder is often the simplest solution to problems. Hey, Mandalorian, welcome in. Say the run's going pretty good so far. Hope you're having a good night. Alright, so I have about 20 minutes to lich here. Takes me a good chunk of that time to go over to Stardust Cave and back. I don't know why I'm even trying a 9-wolf battle. I mean, the Werewolf-Gerwolf combo is actually slower than the earlier regular wolves that you saw. But it's still a very slow fight overall because of how many attacks per round they have. Oh, nice. Cockatrices. Even better. We do actually have gold needles, as they're called in this version, instead of soft potions. That's because I get 1 gold needle and 1 antidote, and I think 1 heal potion as well every time I finish the 15 puzzle. So I don't have to actually buy any gold needles at all in the entire run. All provided from my puzzle completions. Full party stunning on PSP is actually pretty tough, considering how fast and well armored your characters are. You get in PSP and I guess just PSP attribute bonuses from equipment, and so you can actually improve your stats quite a lot just by putting gear on. I think it's one of those things that they added for the post-game content. Drop a couple spells on people so that when we go outside and use the cottage, I'll be healed up to full. And also, ideally, I don't want to have to do that until I come back to the cave a second time. Yeah, on PSP, you also have such good attacks, like just nuke everything, that running is often not required, although running is faster than watching the spell animations. Alright, Trollbull has a ton of experience. It's very dangerous, because we could die here, but why not go for it? I guess you are out of spells, and you're out of spells. Alright, this could be bad. Might have gotten greedy with the XP here. Alright, we should be fine. Something about the Minotaurs that just look silly. They do have their interesting moments. Alright, no more fighting. We actually have more experience than I want to have at this point. Stop it! Stop giving me these good battles. Well, I mean, they're good battles for experience, but they're slow battles because, for some reason, it's actually hard to run from bulls. I'm not quite sure why. They are generally considered to be slow monsters overall, and they don't have much evasion, but it seems like running is rarely successful. Is having too much experience a bad thing? No, it just means I spend a lot of time in combat. There's no downside to having more levels, but it means, like, what you're seeing here, I'm getting lots of fights and they're really taking me a long time to go through the levels. Like, I should be off of this floor already. Like, sub 55 easily for getting out of this cave. Might have to get more aggressive again with saving and resetting out of battles to skip them. It was working for a while to just run from things, because we were very successful at running, and the battles were not too clumped up together. But that was just a really bad streak of them for those floors on the way out. Alright, let's go ahead and save, because there's a lot of encounters here that are really slow. You've got the shadow battles, which shadows have like a 90% ambush rate. And you also have the undead fights, which if you had a ambush by undead, you could spend a long time in there if you got stun locked. I guess technically even if you didn't get ambushed, they could stun lock you before you successfully ran. Go ahead and feed the ruby to the Titan. Encourages crippling ruby addiction to just get worse and worse. And there is a bunch of good gear in the southwest corner of this cave. If you were doing a casual playthrough, I'd probably recommend grabbing it, since that's an easy way to get one of the early silver pieces without having to go all the way over to Crescent Lake. And other than that, there's like an axe that you probably want to sell, because that's not a very good weapon to use. And then some money. And in speedruns, of course, you just skip everything. Skip everything. It sounds like a lot of spells that you had, 64 in total? But remember, 90% of them don't work. So really, you have very few spells that are actually worth using. It's not actually 90% that don't work. It's just a lot. We're continuing to get some really bad luck with the encounters here. That happens not too infrequently for this, so you'll just have these stretches where the encounter is just awful for 10-15 minutes at a time, and then you'll have stretches where you go through a dungeon floor and there's nothing and you feel really good. There we go. At least we finally got away. No, we didn't make it to the cave. We didn't make it to the cave. I don't even have spells to work with, so we have to run from things instead of killing them. Maybe a cottage would help here. But I have to cottage again when we get back to Earth Cave. Otherwise, well, I guess I would have enough heal charges left that a cottage would be not the worst investment in the world. Let's do that when we come out of the cave here. See, I'm supposed to be at Lich in 10 minutes. We're going to need a really good Earth Cave section to stay ahead here. I mean, definitely in terms of experience, I'm way beyond what I had in the last time I did this run. So maybe we'll save a bit of time in Ordeals or Ice Cave. With spells in hand, I can actually deal with the undead fights a little bit better. Shadows are still annoying because of the ambush rates, but things like the ghouls and ghosts, or ghouls and geists would not be a problem. Just fire to them. Hey, Antronus, welcome in. I also feel that at level 10 you should really be having more success on running from things. Your agility is starting to get pretty good at this point, compared to the early game monsters. And it's not until you get into the third and fourth floors of Earth Cave that you're going to fight things that are well above your experience range for the current trip through. Eight minutes left for getting to Lich. I mean, the plus side is that we have so much HP that Blizzard cannot kill anybody in the party now. Again, this was not something I anticipated doing for getting this much in the way of levels. I was thinking level 7 would be fine, but we just picked up a ton of experience from the walk out of the cave, where there are things like bulls and trolls all over the place. really likes this shadow formation. I mean, it's one of the more common ones overall, but I think it is only a 1 in 4 chance for what it would be in total. Because there is a bunch of other formations that are very common. The Ogre Groger is particularly frequent, as is the Ogre Hyena group. Those Tigers, not so much. I think they're not the 3 and 64, but I think they are either the Group 5 or Group 6 fight. And once we get through the first 2 floors, then it starts getting a little bit more challenging for the actual fights in here. This stuff is mostly monsters that are around the area. Probably should have saved 1 step inside the case just to avoid this screen transition. Very common though, if you're going from NES where you can only save on the overworld, it's often tempting to save right before going into a dungeon as opposed to inside of it. Right, 5 minutes left to get to Lich. We're still on floor 2. Again, in theory though, if you have a really fast floor across there, it is smooth sailing if you get lucky on the encounters. That is not lucky on encounters. There we go. That is lucky. Never mind. The ups and downs. Alright, floor 2 done. And I did not bother picking up the 3,400 gold here because the steps it would take to do that, I think, don't pay off for this version of the game. You have a very high encounter rate, and 3,400 gold is roughly 1/3 of a 15 puzzle. So roughly 15 seconds would be what the appropriate trade-off would be for grabbing it. If you have an encounter take place there, you're losing out. So just kind of guess based on how many steps it is. Going up north from this room to the top side of that, and going there and back probably is 1 encounter on average. Normal mode, I'm a little bit more willing to take things because you're not getting the same good experience from or same good gold from the fights. Whereas easy mode here, it just showers money at you. Alright, I want to get on the other side of these bats before saving. 3 minutes to Lich now. Just running. Bat, I am going to murder your entire family. Alright, I have to go ahead and do this because we did have pretty good encounters up to here, so it's worth taking the wizard battle. Normally you would not want to bother with this because it's an unrunnable fight. And they also do quite a lot of damage, so you have to go and heal up afterwards. Or at least do some healing before you get to Lich. Well, we have a lot of spell slots. They're not truly unlimited. There's our Earth Rods, so down to floor 4 here. 2 minutes to go. You're probably the best person to cast it there. Nice, even got good turn order. Wow, that level. Ridiculous. Although that's probably Bill just getting level 10. He is trailing the rest of the party in experience. I'm going to take the top path. Bottom path looked a little bit more blocked up with bats. Hard to tell directly because some of the bats here are off screen until you get through that first section. But you can kind of make a guess based on where you see the ones flapping around. Next, alright. Didn't have to fight cockatrices. No. Go ahead and get the pilot junk. Luckily, most of those things are slow, so you can get away from that pretty easily. Alright, final floor. 30 seconds to go. I don't think we're going to make it in time. Not even saving. Jump right into the Lich fight. Fairly good confidence that we'll be able to beat this guy. Do ninjas have any viability in the remake with stats actually working? They're okay-ish. They're not good. But they're not nearly as big of a liability as they were before. And that's mostly because red wizards and red mages are significantly weaker. So that downgrade does make it so that the other character classes catch up a bit. Like, knights are still the best by far. I would say white wizards get a lot closer to number 2. At least for a speedrun. For casual play, it's probably still black belt as number 2. Good, he did not put Ace to sleep. Let's just start firing him. Do some extra damage on the side. Okay, next round he's going to start doing attack spells. Pretty much needed one more ace hit to be good. So Dan might be the only casualty there, but no, Dan saves his butt by killing Lich with the fire too. Oh man, that's 2 minutes lost on that split. Most of it was just really bad encounters for one small stretch. We do though have, I think, level 11 on everybody in the party now, so we are now at a level which was above what I normally have finishing Ice Cave on normal. So here is how class change characters get spell slots. They have to class change first, and then starting at level 15 and every odd level thereafter, assuming that they have class change, they'll go ahead and get a spell slot. If they haven't class changed, then they wait until the next odd level from the class change and then get it every 2 levels like that. So what makes it challenging is that in a lot of these routes, you want to go ahead and grind in the Ice Cave for the eye fight, and you haven't done class change at that point. So you don't get any spells at all with the upgraded characters that didn't have spells before. Here's my cottage. I'm going to go ahead and do it now rather than doing it outside of ordeals. The same thing, by the way, is true for magic points. So characters that class change do not start earning NP until after the class change has taken place. And that means that your final value for NP is going to vary greatly depending on what level you did the class change at. And if you do the class change after, grinding out a whole bunch of stuff, then it definitely is going to be a long time before you have any realistic value for spellcasting. Afterglow, welcome in. Any goals for tonight? Beat the time that you see up on the screen. That'd be a good one. Enemy strikes first. What about you jerks? I might want to drop a bolt 2 on these things. That way I don't have to worry about flee times in case everybody fails to run. You wouldn't think that early game monsters would be able to prevent you from running at level 11, but for some reason the way that this game treats the opposed check is a little bit wonky for a lot of the comparisons. Like, you'll notice that there are some monsters that are ridiculously easy to run from and others that are just ridiculously hard compared to when you encounter them. Any running in events? No. You can save it wherever you want in this version of the game. Like right there, I'm just going to save and reload. Not even bother having to deal with that fight. Wasn't a bad fight, but it'd be slow sitting through the attacks and then having to most likely try to kill them afterwards, since the bulls, for some reason, are hard to run from. These guys, on the other hand, really easy to run from. And they are, in theory, a lot more powerful than the bulls. Trying to think about whether I should actually fight any giants. I don't think that they're worth the time. There's no spells that help you out in the battle because they don't have any elemental weaknesses. Trolls are luckily easier to run from than bulls, but still worse than giants by a lot. I'm going to try to get around the corner. So close to town. It's actually a lot farther than you think because you have to walk all the way around the lake like that. It kind of curves around, making it so that there is quite a bit of journey up and down. At least once you've done Crescent Lake on the way back, you'll have the canoe to be able to take a shortcut on it. That should be good for cottages for a while. I don't really care about potions in this run. I've got so many spell slots, it's ridiculous. I will take a minute to clear out my inventory here, just so I have less things to scroll through whenever it is time to go and use items. Actually, don't need that, or that, any of that, or even that. Hey everyone, this is the first time I've done 3 red mages on easy. I did 3 red mages on normal and it was pretty successful. In fact, when I tried a 3-character party with a dead character, and it was not faster. It was almost exactly the same length as Fighter plus 3-red mages, and it was way harder. So I would definitely recommend Fighter plus 3-red mages for people playing PlayStation that want an easy time of it. So far, it appears to be one of the better party combinations. See you later, Peds. No Peds in the world record route at all. Neither Ped nor Gurped are ever scheduled to appear. You used to have Gurped in the earlier routes when you were going up by a waterfall. But now that I've changed what I do in Green Volcano to do the trip up to where the flame armor is so that Ace can do a solo fight against Carrie. That makes it so that Gerp Heat is gone. You just are not there in time for him to make his presence. Making Dan a black mage and leaving him alive be better than a third ed mage? I don't think so, because a lot of the difficult parts of the game are really about HP totals, and the black mage is terrible at HP. Like, a white mage has a much better shot of survival. She's actually pretty heavily buffed in the remake, so that her HP is better than the red mage's for a pretty substantial stretch. In fact, I've had white mages in the GBA playthrough that had more HP than a fighter for like a level or two. This is not like early game, this is like level 15 or so, the white mage is better. We have to get all the way to ordeals without a fight, because there's no encounters around here that you want to even try to take. Looking at that time, 7 minutes to get through ordeals. That seems very doable. Yeah, let me say, yep, tonight is easy mode. Assuming I can get to the castle, 7 minutes seems doable. Getting to the castle might not be possible. I don't even use Lit 2 in the Marsh Cave. We do Marsh Cave at level 4. So I do not have that. Even if you had a black mage, you wouldn't be able to cast it. What would it take for 3 mages to be interesting on NES? It just takes longer time to do it. There's nothing stopping you from making a run with 3 mages, but it would be a lot slower than having a dead character. I'm gonna just take this. Even though this is really, really slow to run from, I'll give it a shot. We got lucky with the formation that actually showed up, so there we go. Worth doing. Now that happened, though, we only have 6 minutes to get through ordeals, and that's looking a lot tighter. Hey, Beckert, any plan to get sub 3? I mean, that's the idea. Just go faster. Teleporting puzzle here is really simple. You just take always the bottommost one in every room. Let's see what we got. There's a lot of steps. Zombles. Yeah, let's go blast them. These guys are a good experience. This would be 800 or so for the party. So I guess it's actually more than an Agama. So this is 1.25 Agamas worth of experience. It is not possible to get the new monster values for Final Fantasy yet. It'll be published when I do the run tomorrow. So since it's world record runs, you'll likely have many opportunities to go ahead and set your party up. So as long as you're around at the start of the stream or so, you'll be able to go ahead and plan for that during the run itself. I don't even think I moved. I think I teleported in and landed on top of an encounter. I thought you had to take a step before that would happen, though. I don't know, maybe it just didn't animate me walking to the right there. Will there be a leaderboard purge with the new values? There is no leaderboard that persists past a single round. Every round is separate. And we reset the point scores several times per night. That's when things are going well. Right, I don't have any ice spells to work with here. So I do have to make sure that the Nightmare Fight is okay. The Nightmare Fight, if you have ice, you can just go ahead and blast them with it, since it is their weakness. They've got 200 hit points, and Ice 1 even will eventually kill them. Ice 2 would be a much better choice overall, and I could actually have Ice 2 at this point, thinking about it. Just save a little bit of money on the side for Fast and Ice 2 at the start. Hey, Solo Man, welcome in. And here we go, time for Nightmares. Hopefully we get a chance to strike first so that we get a free run. We do, nice. See you later, Nightmares. Otherwise, running from these things is really tough. It takes, on average, like a dozen or so run attempts. So that would be about 3 or so solid rounds. There's our Ice Brand, Ruby Armlet, so you get the sword. Go ahead, pass those bits of armor down. I think it's still worthwhile to go ahead and grab the treasure chest here. It's very close, though. Because I'm not sure if I actually need the gauntlets. 8,000 gold, which is quite a lot for the early game, though, does help out. And the 3,000 gold equivalent of not having to buy an extra cottage. Alright, a solid minute and a half for Zombie D's. I think we'll have some good times here. So Zombie D's go down really quickly to Fire 2, and we'll have 3 of those per round coming their way. Solid hit to the face. I mean, Dan's used to it. He is one tough trooper. There we go. Ordeal's complete. Next up, a trip to the wonderful Ice Cave. And I will not stop at Elfland along the way because I already have gold needles thanks to having done the 15 puzzle earlier. So really all I could get was the faster Ice 2 spells. For this run, I decided not to do Ice 2 at all. And Fast is really more useful for carry, which means that we can do it after having the airship. Nice gold split. Well, this is only the second time I've played on easy, so pretty much every split is either going to be red or gold. I either lose time or I have a new best at it. Unlike normal mode, I haven't done much easy overall. It's kind of translating the strats over pretty directly, and I can see what works and what isn't actually needed for this version. Cleverly done, but I put Dan on Bolt 2 duty just because they would never expect that. Nobody anticipates Dan killing everybody else off, but he's surprisingly good at it. Oh, they're onto me. My strategies, I shouldn't have told them about it. There we go. Sea battle's done. Now, the canoe battles are significantly slower than the ones on the open ocean because the monsters that you see here, for the most part, will not die to a single Lit 2. You need 2 Lit 2s and sometimes a little bit of extra help to kill them off. So you're not going to do nearly as well plowing through encounters like I did on the boat, and that's why I do go back to saving and reloading for this trip through here. Plus, you have a decent chance of getting ambushed thanks to, what is it? I think that the Ocho Hydra formations got ambushes, and then also a one, if not both, of the Gator formations. See if we can make it all the way to the land there. Once I get onto the shore, it should be okay again. There we go. I mean, there's a couple of slow encounters here, but at this point, no reason to hold back on spells at all. And so begins one of the toughest dungeons of the game. Ice Cave is rather brutal overall for most people playing this. Like, the 2 spots where I think you can get stuck in the early game are Marsh Cave and Ice Cave because of how big the difficulty jumps are for each of those places. I probably could have just gone through 4 wizards. 4 is the smallest number in that formation, unlike Marsh Cave where 4 is the biggest. And at this point, wizards are a lot easier to kill thanks to everybody being able to lit 2 per round. And probably also just one-shotting with your weapons now, especially with the Ice Brand. Try to make it from here. Nice job. All right, floor 2. Once I get around to the eye, I'll actually fight him a while. The eye fight, well, let me think about that. The eye fight might not be that good in this version. Even though you do have more experience and he's faster to kill thanks to having less HP than Agama's, the Bolt 2 is rather annoying. And normally in the harder mode, I use the eye fights to get up to a higher level so that the Agamas start off better. But I'm already level 12. Like, I just want level 11 to get 3 attacks per round with the Ice Sword. So we're totally fine for that. So maybe I should just skip out on doing eye refights and instead focus on getting to Gurgu as fast as possible. Fire Sword might be worth skipping. I don't think I pick it up in the GBA version. I want to say that even though the Ice Brand in Gurgu Volcano is further away, it probably is less likely to have a bad encounter going towards it. I can also skip the Frost Armor here. A lot of good stuff that you'd probably want to pick up in most playthroughs is not strictly required. So I'm actually not going to get Ace any armor until we get to Mirage Tower and get the Dragon Armor for him. So he's going to be a little bit vulnerable compared to normal for physical damage. He should be fine though. There's 20,000 gold down there. This would be a nice spot to skip, although trying to think about where else would be even close to that gold density. Like, assuming that you make it to the corner, 40,000 gold almost instantly is very hard to beat. And I guess it's one encounter on average going down to the corner and back. And for the same reason, I probably should pick up the 10,000 here. 10,000 is the same amount of gold that you get from the 15 puzzle. And since you're almost down in that part of the floor anyway, I think that that beats out doing another 15 puzzle right there. In fact, if I could swing it so that there's only 3 15 puzzles, that might be a better strat overall. Kind of noticing where it's starting to improve in terms of the number of gold pickups that I have, versus the early game where 15 puzzles are definitely way more efficient. Like, I want to get the 4 silver swords, which in this version is 12,800 gil in total. A couple of spells, but not that much. You do want to have Fire 2 and Lit 2 for everybody. But those are pretty cheap overall. Get my shield. Now, I don't want to see Bolt 2 here. Give me a good fight eye. Disappointed. Disappointed is the word. Actually, I should do that when I pick up a floater. Just to make sure I'm totally consistent on the spot. There you go. We'll give him one more chance to not be a jerk. I don't have high hopes, though. He likes to do Bolt 2. It replaces XXXXX, so I guess the alternative is way worse. Nice. And this would be faster than Agama, except for all the resets and having to save in between every time, whereas Agamas, you just destroy them one after another. Alright, we're done with eyes. Done with you forever. Did get level 13 out of it. Bit of a nice bonus. That's right, an ice bonus. Man, the puns just happen. Can't even stop them. Also can't stop all these spell slots. Having 10 Fire 2s or Bolt 2s is just overkill. I don't know who thought it'd be a good idea to go and buff your spell slots this much, but they might as well just have made them unlimited for any reasonable level that you would be going through this game. The only reason it's even somewhat of a stretch in a lot of early game spots is because I'm so dramatically underleveled compared to expectations. That's one of the reasons why I don't complain all that much about the NP system, because if you're playing on easy or later versions of the game, whether you have 99 spell slots or a giant tank of NP, it's more or less the same moral equivalent for casting spells. Alright, these guys are not so good. There's one down. We got them. They don't even give you very good experience in gold. It's a bit of a ripoff having to fight Mind Flayers. Not all for cottages. So of that 106,000 gold, in this version it's 40,000 for the bottle. So 10,000 gold savings there. Each of the 5th tier spells is 5,000 instead of 8,000, so that will add up quite a bit. But with 3 red wizards, it is a decent number of spells to buy nonetheless. Like, I'll probably get all 3 spells for all 3 people, so that's 45,000 gold from that. Pro rings. Ooh, what do the pro rings even cost in this version? It's 20,000 normally, so I'm gonna guess 16,000. Seems like a lot of armor is 20% off. Surprised that they call them mind flayers. It is a lithet, I think, is the term that is actually official to D&D. And the concept itself is like Cthulhu and much older sources. Like a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stole their stuff from other sources, so it's not like Final Fantasy was the first group to go around stealing things. So they can get away with everything that is from older sources than TSR used for Dungeons and Dragons. But there are some things, and the one big one was the Beholder graphic, because that was something that was unique to Dungeons and Dragons. That's why you've got the eye instead of the original beautiful Beholder. But almost everything else, you know, all the demon names, all of the monsters for the most part, even the appearances of the monsters are very much out of older sources than what they were coming up with. All right, float me away. Go ahead and take my airship here. And we're level 14 already, so we're doing really good on experience. I'll probably grab, like... I could do 16 for the whole party, and that would let us end up around 20 for the late game. That would be nice. I could probably do lower, actually, and get away with it with a 4-character party. With a 3-character party, it's a lot harder to do level 18 and below. And I was doing 18, 18, 15 the last time I did a normal playthrough, which was a very rough setup. Actually, technically it was 18, 18, 14, because I didn't get 15 until Temple of Fiends, which is what made it especially bad. 15 is where you got a 5th tier spell charge for the first time, so I didn't have a second person that could cast the life spell. That really made the boss fights more complicated. Come on, there you go. Go ahead and drop our cottage down. We're not going to get spell slots immediately, so I'm not gaining anything by waiting until after class change for doing the MP recovery. And here we go, down bottom. It's extremely unnecessarily long hallways. It's like, seriously, this guy could... Well, he needs a lot of things. An interior decorator would help. A hallway consultant. Assistant to the hallway consultant. That's Dan's job. The assistant to the hallway consultant is being played by Dan here tonight. Everybody dances. It's at least a faster celebration than they do when they beat a fiend. Alright, what is my plan here? I think going to Elfland next is going to be my best move. I need to go to Elfland so that I can get the haste spell. Otherwise, carry takes a lot longer. And while I'm at Elfland, I can go and buy another big chunk of spells there. Cure 2 for everybody. This would mean not getting Pro Ring and Bottle until after carry, but that's like a really minor difference having those Pro Rings in advance. That's 8 extra defense for everybody. And there's not really much in here that is going to be dangerous for physical attacks. Alright, I have enough money probably for Proing and Bottle, but I wouldn't have enough money to buy the Melmon spells, so I do want to get a little bit of cash here at Gurgu. Good first floor. I mean, a lot of these floors are very fast thanks to walking on trap tiles almost exclusively. This one is actually one of the deceptively long ones because so many of the spots in here don't have lava. I can never remember if this is the one that has the secret chance of being unrunnable. I think it is. If it's Ogre Mages by themselves, you can run. But Ogre Mage plus Groger has two different variants, one of which is runnable and one of which is not. Right, second encounter on the floor. PSP can pretty much get through the entire dungeon with no encounters. It's amazing how different the encounter rate is in that version. Yeah, let's just save. Thinking about doing some Cure 2s, but you know what? Let's drain everybody down to 1 HP. Hey, Glowstick, welcome in. Fort Pool's not worth sitting through, especially on an ambush. I will not get the Ice Brand and Flame Shield. Flame Shield wouldn't be useful because I only have the one fighter. And the second Ice Brand I also don't think would be all that helpful. You don't really need anybody besides Haste to attack things. That's why I also think I can skip the Flame Sword. Which, while it does have a couple of spots where it's useful, it's overall not the most vital item. I guess Bill is actually going to be my strongest red wizard here. Go ahead and have him buffed up. Kind of surprised because he was dead earlier, which I guess everybody's caught up on HP, so not a really big difference in terms of values there. Yeah, there's 15 for almost everybody. Might be Bill as well. He's no more than an Agama behind, so I don't have to worry about doing too many extra of these things. Well, can't believe nobody died. That was a bit shocking. Let's go ahead and drop some Cure 2s on you guys. I was thinking about trying to kill off the middle mages as a way to speed this up, but looks like that's not going to work. At this point, we're so close to level 16 that might as well just take it. Does give me a faster carry fight overall. Which, looking at the time, it's going to be amazing how much faster this split is than before. Some of that is the less shopping. So the bottle quest is probably 2.5 minutes difference. But it still should be really, really good in time. There we go. We'll take the bottom Agama. That'll get Bill his level no later than Carry. He'll either get the level right here, or since Carry is worth almost the same as an Agama, Agamas give you 2,472 experience, and Carry is 2,475. So he's 2 behind at most, then he'll get a level. Got it right there. Don't have to worry about the carry experience out of the end of it. There we go. Level 16 for everybody. Again, this will be a bit deceptive because I didn't do the bottle quest, but still really fast. Hey, nice, an Agama. I was missing these guys. It's been a while since we saw our last one. I also really like the number of spell slots I have to work with. All these Cure 2s is like a luxury. Okay, I'm not sure if this Ogre Mage is the unrunnable pack or not, so we're just going to murder him. The thing that makes it tough is that the monster that comes with the Ogre Mages is optional. So you don't have a good sense about whether or not it's the unrunnable or not until you fail to run a bunch. I'm not even sure why I saved for carry. This is going to be a beatdown. Even at level 16, we'll have no problem with her. And looking like Bill is in very good shape for my alternate Red Wizard. Although I think with this group I can go ahead and tank Lich and his Flare spell instead of trying to petrify people. So I might just keep all 4 people up and running. Oh wow, Dan dying. By 7. By 7. Dan missing out on an Agama worth of experience there. Bill would have been okay. Maybe it's for the best that Dan died. He's used to it. He's got the most practice. Everybody celebrates, even Dan. You know, why not? The encounter in Carrie's lair. It's an Agama. What are you doing here? Did you follow us? I want to take an Agama home as a pet. You know, carry him around to the sea shrine. I'm sure that'll go really well. Now Dan's 2 Agamas behind. So Dan and Bill should be about roughly equal experience here. I guess Dan will be a little bit behind Bill even. There's one fairy. A gold-eating 8-legged weasel. That is an interesting pet. I mean, why 8 legs specifically? Is it some kind of spider weasel? Because just so that sounds a little bit creepy. Alright, here we go back to Gaia. They should have a clinic. Somewhere. Where is the clinic in Gaia? Oh, it's in the northwest corner. It's like, I need to get Dan revived. Oops. Sell both of these. I can get a ruby bracelet, but, you know, not going to bother. 2 more cottages for the rest of the game should be fine. We don't even need potions and arrows. I might not need potions at all in this entire game. Just drop a whole bunch of cure ones on people when we need to. Alright, we'll revive Dan. Against my better judgment, come back to life. Go ahead and pop our bottle fairy. So she's going to go appear at her lake, and you can do that pretty much anywhere you want, but I usually wait until I'm right near where the lake is to go and do it. Thanks, Battle Fairy. Got the Oxyal. I guess I had 1 Cure 2 left. Would have made that process slightly faster. Alright, now sailing down to Melmond here. So go here, go to the right. Overshot it because I'm too far north. There we go. Go ahead and get spells for everybody with my remaining money. Or at least my black magic spells. I want the warp spell right now. Okay, warp. We'll give that to whoever that is. Hopefully my mages don't swap around. I don't need a lot of warp casts, so, you know, good enough right there. We'll be back later when we get our friend Dr. Unin to our illegal banana trade. Alright, so Cal is the warp spell. Try to remember that. I don't really need warp all that often, so not having it on the entire group of red mages is not a big deal. Grab a couple more spells there. And Waterfall time. Now, Waterfall has a couple of bad encounters, which is why I do want to mostly save my way through it, but in general, you can blaze through this really quickly. These guys, they're kind of bad. Wow, they're really bad. Surprised not being able to run there. Mummy should be pretty slow. The encounter rate again. The encounter rate. Golems are also slow. The things you don't want to see are gas dragons. Those are the worst. And then nightmares are not bad to fight, but they are very hard to run from. So those are ones that you also don't want to see if possible, like these things. Actually, if I don't get away right away, I might as well just reset. Okay, 1 nightmare, we can kill that pretty quickly. They only have 200 hit points. However, they're very, very agile, so you'll swing a lot of times and hit them very rarely. Here we are, heading down to the home of the infamous Out of Bounds Bat, who is so out of bounds. You cannot find him in this version of the game. He's just gone. Vanished. Didn't make it to the door. I want to get to the door so that I can go ahead and save it before going to the trap tile. Trap tile in this version has a very high chance to be jerk birds. Because I don't think that they have the mummies first in this encounter list anymore. Instead, it's the birds. So they often displace every single mummy there like that. Nice. Bolter is your spell of choice because the Pyralisks have fire resistance, so they will not be killed off by fire twos. One cube obtained. Do I need the gold pickups here at all? Like, I need maybe 30,000 gold to progress on, so it's an easy way of getting it. I don't worry at all about what I get in Sea Shrine now. Well, that is a lot of junk. Most of that should be killed by a triple bolt, too. You had third tier spells, which you're kind of supposed to at this point. Like, Fire 3 is all the way back at Melmond, so you're supposed to have that for Lich. Bolt 3 you should have at Crescent Lake, so... The only reason a lot of these encounters are very bad for speedrunning is that you just don't have the right spells to deal with them. Hey, nice Ace. We didn't want the experience anyway. It would have taken us too long to count it. That's about halfway there. Unrunnable fight, though. This is the same formation as it was back in the Ice Cave, so the Frost Giant Frostwoe battle with 0 to 2 Frostwoes is also around Onrak here, just as a rando encounter. And one of the several unrunnables in the Onrak area. This is just like a really dense set of them. Because you've got those guys, you've got the Cerberus fight, and I think there's one other unrunnable as well. You know what? I don't think I need any items. We're going to the Sea Shrine. Yes. I almost immediately after going and using a cottage forgot that I went and used the cottage. Had to go and check. Because I wouldn't want to talk to Spooky Ghost Mermaid without my spell charges recovered. She's just so spooky. By the way, at the end of Kraken is when we're going to know how much time I truly saved at Gurgu Volcano. Because now I've done the shopping that normally I do before going into Gurgu. That's the bottle purchase at the caravan. Going over to Gaia, getting the Pro Rings, getting the Oxyal, and so on. So I'm going to guess like 2.5 minutes or so is not real from that gold split, but still a very good time overall. All right, that's about 2/3 of the way through. Okay, next floor here. A couple more fights up on this floor that are not worth doing, but at this point there shouldn't be Nagas, so... With three red wizards, you know, I could probably just blast anything that comes up. Ghosts, you know, triple fire to them. Gersharks or Wizhags, triple bolt to them. So I don't think I need to save running through this stretch for a little while. I will take the XP, thank you. So one of the better XP formations in the area here. This is better than two Gersharks by a lot. The Deep Eyes just has a large amount of XP relative to its difficulty. Did they remove lightning weakness from that guy? Because those were very, very bad lit 2s, if not. There's my mage armor upgrade. So at the end of the game, somebody needs to have silver mail on still, which is why I kind of would love to be able to buy the gold bracelet at Gaia, but I just never have enough money for it. And at this point, you know, money is no problem, but unlikely for me to actually have it work out. And of course, Cal is the one that has the least amount of HP. He's the one with the warp spell. Still listed as bolt weakness in this version. I don't know how accurate the websites are for stats for the remake versions. I will tentatively believe it and just say that was bad luck. But I know that for the remakes, nobody's gone and done like the disassembly for the same degree as it's been on NES. And so probably a lot of the data tables are just copied over from NES and then people update minor changes as they see them. Because who knows what tweaks that they did overall for fixing it up. Wow, 5 ghosts. That's a lot of damage. I mean, triple bolt or triple fire 2 would kill him. However, I'd rather not have to sit through that. 3 ghosts. Well, enjoy some fire. This is another case where a third tier spell would be so nice. Fire 3 would be very much killing them in one hit. Or Fire 3 plus a Fire 2. You wouldn't have to do 3 rounds of it. Does PSX have a bestiary? I think it does. I don't know if I've ever checked it. It's one of those things that's on the main menu screen, but I don't know what's in the bestiary info. There we go. We're just going to use as much lightning as possible here. Epic name bro, welcome in. Run's going decently. This is still a very early routing still for easy mode. So up to this point, I've mostly been playing on normal. And that means there is big opportunities for time savings as I come up with ideas for this. Alright, PSX does have bestiary. I knew there was something there on the menu. Let's go ahead and grab the Giant's Glove. More ghosts. Well, enjoy your fire too. That's actually really good. The second fire 2 there did almost max to both of them. The first one was a more typical damage range that you'll see. That formation there is scorpions and snakes is surprisingly good for experience. I don't like doing it just because there's a lot of monsters that are attacking you, and a lot of them use poison. But you can actually get pretty good experience from the snakes overall. I think the scorpions are not as good. And then if you go for like XP per minute, the Gersharks are one of the best overall, at least in the original. Snag my gloves there. That gets me casts of the Saber spell, which ordinarily Saber is a 7th tier Black Wizard only spell, so it's not overly useful as a combat buff. But since you could use it on anybody thanks to the Giant's Glove, it is one of the better finds that you have in this entire place. Another one of these things. It's an unrunnable fight, so I have to go and blast away whenever I see him. It's also not very good experience, which is why I try to avoid these in NES. There is one Wiz-Sahag, Red Sahag battle in NES, and the other ones have all been manipulated out. Alright, Ribbon's gonna go on... I guess Bill's the next to grab one. What difficulty setting this? This is easy. Which is why things are going so quickly for leveling. This one might have been better to reset on because I just saved. And I wouldn't have to sit through the fight, but we got lucky on the turn order. Now when I get down to the bottom floor, there are a couple of formations that I would have a harder time dealing with. Most prominent is going to be water elementals, since those require ice to be used for their weakness, and we have no ice spells in this party. My prediction is 2.5 minutes due to the shopping route differences, so looking pretty close to that here. That was a good walk. Let's see what we get. Kershark. Alright. I'll take that. Should have saved. Actually, I'm not even gonna do it. That's a long time to get through. I have to heal again. I have to antidote. I'm just gonna lose the progress and write up that Gershark as a lost opportunity. One more area to cover here, and then we'll be at Kraken. That is a very unlikely quadruple can't run. At this point, we actually have decent levels for this party. We're starting to hit up around level 18. Which is generally quite good for running overall. Up until you get to Temple of Fiends, and then it's back to all the monsters severely outclassing you. Here we go, Kraken time. So I'm going to go pure offense on this guy. We are doing nothing but buffs on Ace the first round, and then we're just going to go for the throat. I probably could go and attack with Ace, but This case is an example of getting a turn order that would not be really effective for that. Whereas if Ace had gone last in the round, he would have done more damage in the rounds here than if we had taken this time to buff. Oh, nice. Cal just barely surviving. Kraken 1 does not have Lit 2 spells, so I don't even have to bother healing Cal. He's either going to be punched again and die, or he's going to live. Need one more hit on him. Got 1,600 hit points, so now that we have 2 more tempers, Ace should be very much clearing that 800 mark. Dan's 2 damage. He's a helper. Alright, looks like we lost 4 minutes from the shopping difference. A little bit more than I expected, but I don't think that anything really went badly in Sea Shrine, so I wouldn't imagine a huge difference overall. Like, there was one spot where I had to do a whole bunch of wasted time from battles, which could have potentially been avoided with more saving. But usually I chalk up things like that to about a minute per occurrence. There we go, done with Sea Shrine, done with the on-rack area. Let's go back down to Melmon, turn in our slab. Got a decent amount of the way there. This should be a runnable encounter. There we go. All right, this time I'm going to do this in a better order. I didn't do it in a better order. Never mind. If I had cottaged outside, I could have warped from Dr. Doom to outside and then done the white magic shop instead of having to do a double warp here, but I didn't cottage, and so I don't have any cast of warp left because I used up 3 in Sea Shrine, Mermaid floor, 2 floors there, and then 1 floor on Giant's Glove, and then the 4th one I actually didn't have the charges yet because I got the level in the dungeon itself. So no savings for me on the walk out of there. I'm getting Warp Spell just because keeps everybody at the same spots in their magic menu for where the spells are. Technically, I only need 1 red wizard with warp for the rest of the game. Okay, 4 more cottages left, should be fine. Alright, Triforce, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out here. Let's get to the other side of the lake. Go ahead, do our first save. We do have some unrunnable encounters here. The infamous Zombull and Troll fight is the one that you want to have when you are grinding, but not so much when you're trying to just walk to the town. Although with this setup, I'm thinking about the time savings of not having to save and just saying I'm going to triple fire 2 in all those fights. It's slow animation-wise, but it could come out ahead over having to do resets. Actually, only 2 of them. Just go for the murder. They're not that tough. 4 to 7 Frostwolves there. That is the trap tile in the southwest corner of the bottom floor, the one I'd say never go in front of the upper right-hand chest. It's because that group of 4 to 7 Frostwolves is standing there. And they are unpleasant back at Ice Cave. They're not so fun now, but they're really, really bad when you first see them. Speed Gaming. Thank you much for the host there, and hope everybody had a good event earlier. We're doing some Final Fantasy for the PlayStation here. Working on a new route for easy mode for PlayStation, which is not a version I typically play, but it is probably very similar overall to the GBA and more recent remakes of Final Fantasy for how it plays. Still has some aspects of the original NES version, so you still have spell slots instead of getting NP and other nice things. But it definitely does give you enough of a boost in terms of things like experience and gold that you don't have to do any grinding at all. And so for people that don't have nostalgia for the original NES, GBA or something like this is a really good way to get into the game. Hey, Double Drop, welcome in. Thanks for the good wishes there. Frost Breath. You guys are very good at this. Luckily, this is not as bad as the Frost D Frost Breath. But Ace will take a lot of damage here because we don't have any ice resistance on him yet. He doesn't get his resistance until we get up into Mirage Tower. Nice, more giants. These guys are really slow, so it's easy to run from the battles. The one that's more annoying but more lucrative is the Zomboul Troll fight. And then once I get out of this little area, the monsters around the Mirage Tower section are way nastier. So you have a lot more things that have instant death and just hit really hard with physical damage. So I do want to make sure I save for walking across here. Tyro, he's nice. I'm going to run though. Tyro is 1 1/3 Agama's worth of experience, so almost worth doing. Not used to not seeing overpowered characters. These are really overpowered for me, because when I'm playing on NES, I have characters that are way, way weaker than this. And that's really the big challenge factor of the original version of the game. Your growth is very, very slow. And so a lot of the routing is figuring out how to deal with things with the absolute minimum of resources, whether it's very few levels or very little gold or not having a lot of spells and things. It's a nice puzzle for exploration, and then execution-wise, it's just absolutely brutal. This one's a lot more of a relaxing stroll through the game. Oh yeah, PSP has a whole bunch of things broken. For people that haven't seen the PlayStation Portable version of Final Fantasy, there is a bug called the equipment glitch, which is unique to that version. And it basically breaks things really hard, because you can get gear that's much better than possible to get in the original Final Fantasy within 4 or 5 minutes of starting the game. Just kind of absolutely blitz through up until the fight with Chaos. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Aegis Shield. With 4 characters, I'm not going to have a ribbon for everybody. And so I need to have some way of getting poison resistance onto Ace here. Otherwise, there is a few monsters that have poison-based instant death, and they would be very unpleasant. Hey, Mordok, welcome in. Yeah, Fighter 3 Red Mages is something I'm trying out here. I did 2 Fighters, 2 Red Mages, and it was okay. It works really well for growth overall, but you don't need the second fighter in the remake versions, because you can just temper and buff up your primary fighter to ridiculous amounts of damage. You guys will see that when we get to Tiamat for how outrageous the damage gets in a hurry. Actually, no, don't do that. Keep that on for right now. We're going to optimize, I guess, you to Diamond. You can keep Ruby. You're going to have Mithril. Swap these 2 guys. On up here, I'm going to pick up the Dragon Mail. This pack, might as well just bolt to it. These guys are pretty fast, so running from them is somewhat difficult. They're good experience, though. I'd love if I had 4 or 5 of them. And it really doesn't take much more time to kill 5 of them than it does 2. So I'm just missing out on XP by getting a low roll here on the encounter. That's another one that's pretty good to take. We're going to be way over what my level targets were for the game, it looks like. There's just a couple of spots where the monsters were easier to kill than it was to run away from them. And that made it so that where I was planning to finish the game around level 19 or 20, instead it's going to be more like 22. We'll see if we get lucky with the Cerberuses. I don't have any ice spells, so no quick way of dealing with these guys. Yeah, I'm planning to do Excalibur as well. That is a pretty big benefit for a lot of the Fiend refights. It saves you at least 1 round in each of them, and 1 round in Chaos as well. Masbeam, though, is pretty easy to skip overall because of how much benefit you have from Temper as well as the Giant's Gloves. What a rude vampire. We're not going to have ribbon on all of our red mages until we get to the top of the Sky Castle, which is why they can still get paralyzed here. And then Ace doesn't have one because, sadly, they only put 3 ribbons in this game, clearly miscounting the number of party members you have. Hey, Sakatana, welcome in. Doing pretty good for this run. This is still me planning out the early stages of easy mode, so this is actually only my 2nd run on this version. But it's similar enough to other versions that I played that I have a pretty good idea about what I want to do with the route. Dan does not get a ribbon. That's likely going to be true. Go ahead and kill these guys with damage. I think this is faster than the spell animations. Hey, Turbotubby, welcome in. With only 2 vampires or 2 guards. Well, definitely 2 vampires. 2 guards might be harder to kill because they've got very high physical defense. Not totally sold on Thor's Hammer. Actually, for this route, Thor's Hammer is probably not a good idea. On the previous route, I was still turning people to stone, and so I needed attack spells for the Germedusa battle. But I'm not planning to do that here. We have enough Cast of Life that I don't worry about people getting killed off by Lich's Flare. You know, we didn't get very far. Let's go ahead and just reset that rather than go into the menu. Hey, Ice Spirits. We are going to be very damned tonight. Dan was taking a nap the last time I did a normal mode run. It was a 3-character version, just like the NES World Record strats. But I didn't find it to be particularly good of an improvement. Like, it was actually about the same time as a 4-character party, and it was a lot harder. So I think that there's more potential for 4 characters than 3 in normal. See how Blue D treats us here. Blue D loves to use a move called Thunderbolt in this version, which is Thunder in the NES. It's a 50% chance that he does that every single round, and there's no way to get solid Thunder persistence on everybody, so you just have to hope that he doesn't do it too much. Although here with easy mode, you have spell slots coming out of your ears. So no danger of running out of healing. How difficult is this run compared to the NES version? This is way, way easier than NES. Go drop a couple more Cure 2s there on Ace. Alright, should be good for a while. Okay, what do I want up on the Sky Castle? I guess the ribbon is the only equipable item I'll get, and then I will get Adamant to forge Excalibur. But as we were kind of talking about earlier, you can actually skip Excalibur in this version and still have a pretty decent time on a lot of the Fiend refights. And so I could easily see bypassing that entirely and just finishing the game with the Defender. I actually do that on GBA because of the different party makeup that I have for that one. There's our friendly eye. We haven't seen him for a while. He just comes back as a random encounter in Sky Castle. The encounter rate. I made good progress here, which is why I don't want to reset. Normally, if I get a streak of encounters like this, it's just reset and do the 25 or so steps again. Yeah, for GBA, I do Fighter, 2 Red Mages, and a White Mage as my preferred party. And the reason for that is because they keep buffing Chaos to be stronger and stronger. So, original NES version, he's got 2,000 hit points. This version, he's got 4,000 hit points. GBA's got 20,000 hit points. So it's a lot more of a slog to get through that fight. And I use the White Mage as a way to keep the party alive during it, because she can have healing spells for the whole party with a pretty good modifier score to it. Keeps most of the damage from Chaos more or less clean up every round. And so you can stay alive long enough to go and do that much damage to him. There's my ribbon. So now we should have one on all the mages. Of course, optimize wouldn't work. Warping allows me to avoid walking through more steps on that floor. Real-time warping is slower than running across there, but in terms of encounters, you save enough steps for it to, on average, be one encounter faster. Down the southwest here is where Excalibur's kept, and I've timed it both ways, and the difference between warping post-Excalibur and walking back is so small that I'm not sure which is even best. So just for consistency, I walk back, because on the normal mode, you wouldn't have the spell slot for the warp. Doing so good on encounters for most of the dungeon. Usually the 4th and 5th floor gets a little bit easier than the bottom floors here. So I'm hoping that we'll get paid back for these bad encounters at some point. There's my Adamant. And I will save after this because I don't want to play the cutscene again. just in case we have to reset a battle. Okay, a lot of these Nagas. The Gur Naga is actually a really nice fight because she mostly does buff spells until like the 5th spell in her spell cycle, so you can just kind of hang out there in the fight. It does get a little bit harder if she does the blink spell, because then you have a harder time hitting her, but there's not really any danger to that encounter, unlike most of the other fights here. Alright, there's 3rd floor down. Here's floor number 4. And tonight we'll do up and to the left. Just need to pick one vertical direction and one horizontal direction, and that'll take you to where the exit is. Do I take the robes? No, I do not. So the white and black robes are used to cast the Invisibility 2 spell, which is basically a half-strength blink on everybody, or the Ice 2 spell. They're good spells, and definitely for casual play I'd recommend them. But I have not found them to be overly useful in most of the speedrun versions. Marathon NES speedruns probably want the white shirt. Everything else can more or less skip them. Poisonous nachos. Those do not look delicious. Covered in slime and other bits. Here we are, 5th floor, home of the infamous Mormek, who we did not see there. He was sleeping. Your odds of running into Warmech are very low. He was 3 in 64 in the NES version for the encounter rate, and also the encounters on this floor were greatly upped compared to the other floors in the game. In remakes, he's 1 in 64, and the encounters are normal rate, so he's way less common than he used to be. There's our first round of buffs. So we have 1 haste, 2 tempers, and a saber on ace now. He's going to go into attack mode. We'll continue dropping tempers on him. And Tiamat's got 2,000 hit points, and they're going to go away really fast. Can you Bane Tiamat in this version? Yep, but watch how much damage ace does here. Got an unlucky turn order. He probably can do a 2-round fight, but he missed out on all 3 tempers in the round here. There she goes. And we are on Temple of Fiends. I do need to go Forge Excalibur, but there's no other side business for me to take care of. Am I going to submit a PS time at some point? Probably, like whenever I get to the point where I'm not getting a new record every time I play the game. There we go. Everybody celebrates. Even Dan celebrates. Still don't know why that guy is in my party. He's just along for the ride. Saw some other people hanging out and he decided to join the group. That Cure 3 sounds really weird. Here we go. Do I pick up the Giant's Glove? Yes, those are back at the Sea Shrine. You pick those up before getting the ribbon there. Tempt you to take the PSP back again. Go for it. Do it. Here we are, gonna go get that Excalibur. And it's just like, here's a rock, and it's like, yep, let me beat a sword out of that thing. And it's all mine. Go ahead, put that on Ace, and that'll be his sword for the late game. I will keep a defender sitting around in my inventory, so that somebody randomly needs to blink during the fights, it'll be okay. Actually, this version, I don't even need to bother with that. We've got so many casts of Life 1 that it's ridiculous. Yeah, 310 should be pretty easy here. And then there's a couple more tweaks I would need to make to the route before sub 3 hours is possible on console. But it's looking like there's a lot of good improvements that are still left to go. Am I going to do anything for the 12-hour challenge? I am planning to challenge Puexel to a race of Crystallis at the end of 12 hours of practice. And we'll see if we both manage to be able to make the time for it, but it sounds like it's going to be fun. What are other people doing for 12-hour challenges? Do you guys have a game in mind already for it? Not even going to peek at that one. I don't need Purple Worm experience, so there's not much in this dungeon that I even want to consider fighting. Before anybody asks, yes, it's going to be the NES version of Crystallis because that's the only version that is acceptable to play. That's probably slower to fight that than to get across the floor again. Tails game, that's a pretty ambitious one for 12 hours to learn it. But good luck with that. Sure, Zakatana, go ahead, post away for the 12-hour challenge info. That just came out today for people that haven't seen it. It is going to be the first weekend in August, I believe, for when the dates are. And basically the idea is you need to learn a game in 12 hours and speedrun it by the end of that time. Doesn't have to be a good speedrun, just do it. And I love the concept because it gets people out of the mindset that you have to spend a really long time preparing for a speedrun before you go and try it. Just like, sit down, see if you like it. And at the end of a day, you'll probably know whether or not you want to continue doing it. Badman. These guys are actually runnable. Most of their stuff on this floor is really, really awful. So the Badmen are actually the best stuff you can find. Those things are the worst. So grass dragons are unrunnable. They've got a really nasty poison breath attack. And their weakness, ice, is very hard to exploit for a lot of setups. Because ice is the same tier as the haste spell. So you don't want to use up your ice 2 charges before getting to the bosses. You know what? Let's go ahead and do a quick swap here. This is probably not necessary in PlayStation, but makes it a little bit easier to do the fight. Alright, pretty good. Got our whopping 1 experience from that. I don't want to be looking at that. We're 1 step away from the tile. Just want to play my loot. Is that so wrong? Ooh, 7 Saga. That would be definitely too long for a 12-hour challenge. I think 6 hours is considered a pretty good time in that game at this point, and a lot of it is just grinding, so it's important to know how the level mechanics work and how to efficiently grind and dodge monsters, so that probably is a pretty extensive learning project before you can get into it. If you've never done a 12-hour challenge before, think of a game that you've been interested in running, relatively short. So like I think like 30-minute games make really great 12-hour challenges. I've done a couple that are in like the hour and a half range, and you don't get a lot of opportunities to play through it. You'll spend a little bit of time practicing, and then you might make 2 or 3 complete runs, and so you really have to do sometimes some painful strats if you mess something up. Like you just don't have time to reset and do more. Do I have plans for Final Fantasy on GBA? Yes. So I'm going to be doing something in the near future, which is a marathon of every single version of Final Fantasy that I own that can be reasonably captured. So NES, Famicom, GBA, PlayStation, and PSP in a row, which should be about 13 hours to complete. So I'm basically going through all the versions, de-rusting them, making sure that they're in good shape, and then I'll figure out at that point when I can actually schedule it. My guess is it'll be sometime late September. Yeah, the only 2 versions of Final Fantasy that I'm not playing that are realistically interesting are the MSX version, because I don't own it, and nobody I know has a copy, so I can't even try to find it, and Wonder Swan Color, because there's no way to capture that. Wonder Swan Color is pretty similar to PSX on normal difficulty, so I don't think you're missing out on much by not seeing it. Do I have a PSP time? No, I've never posted a time for PSP because I've never gotten into that run. But I will at least give it a little bit of preparation before doing it at the all-day event. I might do PSP first just so that I can gauge how the afternoon is going to go after that start. What category am I going to do for Crystallis? It's going to be no Wild Warp. I don't know if I'm going to do any percent or 100%. They're very similar. 100% collecting a couple extra items that are not too far out of the way. And I wouldn't say there's a lot of difficulty differences between 80% and 100%. Crystallis is a game which requires you to get up to the max level to beat the game. So you're not going to save any levels or anything like that. There's not really great items to find that are going to swing the gameplay balance or anything, so the 100% is more about just doing everything in the game as opposed to getting some kind of overpowered character by the end. There are runs for Wrong Warp Crystallis, but it's just not a competitive category because it's not as fun to watch as the regular ones are. Like 80% is a very good speedrun overall. It's a good length for an RPG or action RPG type game. It's got a lot of tech into it, and Crystallis has aged very well for an NES game, so it looks pretty good still. Hey, thanks, Double Drop. Yeah, I'll definitely kind of look for the routes that are out there. PSP, I'm not planning to route it myself. And actually, the other thing I need to do is figure out what what method of playing it I'm going to use. I don't like using my PSP for long sessions because it's kind of uncomfortable to have it with the charger cord plugged in. But maybe that runs short enough that I'm not going to be bothered with it. I own a PSTV, but that is going to be where I couldn't play the original intended release of it. I'd have to do an ISO file. Poor Lich doesn't even get his theme music here. The 4 Fiend refights in GBA and later do get the upgraded boss themes, but in PlayStation you only get it the first time that you fight them. Good enough. Nobody died. See you later, Lich. They did buff him from his first appearance, but he only has 1,000 hit points. You have so many spell slots on easy. It's the most extraordinary thing for coming from NES or normal mode. It's just like spells for days. Spells coming out of your ears. That probably was a fight I could have run from. I think the red giants are slightly faster than the Agamas, but not much. Go ahead, start taking some saves here. There is unrunnable battles against fire elementals. And then once we get to Kraken's floor, there's a lot of junk battles where there's like 8 monsters and they love to ambush you and use poison and stuff, so you want to have a backup in case you get something bad. I usually don't bother in GBA just because you can come in here at a much higher level, so running is not as hard as PlayStation is. But right now we're at kind of the cusp between when running is going to be reliable or not for these floors here. Should be good enough. Probably don't even need to save. I don't bother saving on GBA, but I'm doing it here. This one, I don't know if I should have done the Giant's Glove. Carrie doesn't have that much defense. Kraken and Tiamat, there's a big jump up in physical defense between the previous Fiends in them. So you want to have a little bit of extra attack power to be able to pierce through that. Oh, speaking of Chrysalis, Dragon Dark SDA, who just hosted me, is the world record holder in Chrysalis for the NES. He also has some really good times on NES Metroid and a few other games, so he's a great streamer to watch. Oh man, Evan, sorry to hear that. Hope you get a NES collection again sometime. I don't know why I just saved before going down the steps. It would have made much more sense to save after it. Alright, nothing but water elementals. Yeah. Water elementals are the last unrunnable elemental in the game. Although air elementals are fast enough that at these levels you'd have a hard time running. Nothing but water mentals. Zelda 1 would be a good 12-hour challenge. That's a game which has so many safeties in its route that, you can get the blue mail, the red mail, the potion, make it a lot easier to get through there without having to know the super advanced strats. And so you could pretty easily learn Zelda or Zelda 2 in the time for it. I didn't hear the ding. There we go. One encounter Kraken floor, not in this version. PSP is probably half or lower for the encounter rate compared to GBA or PSX. And so, like, PSP, you can have a 0 encounter Gurgly Volcano. Whereas GBA or PSX, you're lucky if it's 5 or 6 encounters going through it. I just walked away from where the door was. Thought I was on the other side. Final Fantasy NES or Super Mario RPG. Those are two very different games. Super Mario RPG, one of the more execution-heavy RPGs. Although if you do it without super jumps, and that's only 20 minutes longer for the route, it's not too bad to go and do. Super jumps are really what makes it a very tough game for you to be competitive on without a lot of practice with action games in general. Ultima 3! I saw Yogi the Monk and Toad doing that recently. Ultima Exodus is, it's a fun game. It's very heavily broken by encounter manipulation. But I remember playing it back before people knew about that, and it's a tough, legitimately tough game to get into. Like, there's no clues about where to go or what to do, and the leveling system is brutal, because the way that Ultima 3 works is that as you level up, the monsters also get harder, and they get harder much faster than you get stronger. Hey, see you later, Cal. Alright, Bill's gone too. We need Dan to stay alive, otherwise I don't have any life spells. Who knew it'd all come down to Dan? Oh, so this is really weak damage there by Ace. I may have missed seeing whether or not one of the buffs did not go off before. Oh, that's what it is. Didn't get buffed. That's why he's doing so little damage. Yeah, the person that was hasting evidently died before the spell went off, but I did notice that's why Ace was only doing like 500 damage. You can tell because he only had 4 attacks per round, which is way less than normal. Alright, time for a ton of healing. That's actually pretty costly having that mistake because healing in this game is very slow for this version. GBA, you can mash through healing and just get back to full very quickly. But here you are not so fortunate. Oh, I actually did temper saber? Weird. I thought I hasted it with whoever was in the second slot for it. I guess it would have been Cal at the time. Alright, fixed. One last stretch here. I'm not getting Masmune because, you know, why not? It's a really, really long trek to get to it. Unless you're playing on NES, you have all these buffs available. There we go. This time I know that the wizard in slot 2 did haste. That's going to be Bill this time. It's a little bit weird seeing people out of order, but this works for my party order pretty well. I'll go and swap Cal and Ace, and then put the ribbon on Ace as well for Chaos. Probably don't need to temper here, but this is just in case we don't get good damage. Temper is going to help. I need a 1200 to kill Tiamat next round. It'll be close with 3 tempers on him. Scourge does not work because everybody either has a ribbon or a Aegis Shield, and then bad turner. If anybody had tempered Ace before he got to go, that would have been the end of it. That pushed us around like, what, a 307, 308 for finishing up now. Ace too fast. I shouldn't have hasted him. Haste does not actually work to increase your speed and turn order for this version of the game. The original Final Fantasy used haste to double your attacks per round, which is a very big increase to damage output. Hey, Putzen. Yeah, this is a new route for easy. So this is doing 3 red mages instead of 2 fighters, 2 red mages. I also learned some things doing the first playthrough, which have helped out a little bit for what to skip in this version of the game. I'm gonna save because Chaos is a jerk. Hey, Tom Servo, welcome in. Are the comparison splits for normal? No, the comparison splits are for easy. Normal is significantly longer overall because it's very similar to NES in terms of the leveling curve. So you're gonna have a lot harder time in the beginning and the middle of the game. And here we go, all down to this one last fight with some good music. Okay, we're gonna start with Chaos. Ice 3, good choice. Does put him 1 spell closer to Cure 4. But we'll do so much damage that a Cure 4 is not as bad as it is on NES. There's 2 spells, so he's going very heavy in the spells. Good start. Should be about 1500 after we do this round of buffs, and then I'll be going for the attacks. With this working out, it would be a 3-round kill for Chaos. The time to get attached. Oh no, it's never time to get attached. See, if you were attached, you'd be dead just like Cal. Does Chaos still have a set spell order? Yes. It's it's not the same spell order as NES, but it's pretty close. We're going for it. Didn't get it. Oh, man. I was so hoping that Dan would kill Chaos here. I mean, we still have a shot. There we go. Easy every time. Somehow I always lose everybody in the party for these fights, but you know what? It worked out. 307.36, that breaks the record for console by about 5 minutes. I think 3:12 something is Rory Extra Life's time.